Hello and welcome back to Scale to Exit with Alejandra Santos. I want to start the episode by saying I'm sorry for being 2 weeks late. 2 days late, not 2 weeks late. Basically, share with you an episode every week. But this week, I am 2 days late and I take full accountability for that. So feel very bad. But here we are, and I'm excited to present you this guest. But before we go into that part of the episode, I want to also welcome everybody that's here that's new to Scale to Exit. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We love to have you here. And for everybody that comes in and frequently, thank you so much for coming back. Thank you so much for sharing our podcast. Thank you so much for finding the content interesting and for continuing to support. My team and I do put a lot of energy into finding the right guest, into crafting the right episode, and making sure that I'm not late as well hosting the episode. So, yeah, thank you so much for the support. Before we dive in, I do want to share this because I feel like a lot of you are probably have a scenario like this one or are experiencing something like this. So I'm not gonna say names, but this week I experienced this turbulent moment with one of my clients, and that is because, as you all know, next week is the deadline for the extension of submitting your tax returns for a C Corp and LLCs. So my client, they have a lot of businesses, and we here we are, and then we get this email from this CPA. The email was covered with anger and was a lot of rude ways of asking a very simple question, was a lot of point fingering, was a very judgmental email. It was not a professional email. There was a lot of undertones there of frustration. However, the questions could have been prevented if the CPA could have done its due diligence more and he could have found those answers himself. I'm pretty sure at one point when he was typing the question, he could have seen that the question sounded inappropriate, right? And I'm sharing this because what we do as advisors and professionals, there's tons of us, all right? My business into the next, there's a lot of businesses that offer the same services. And as there's a lot of CPAs out there. Okay, so if you are a business owner that have been in a situation like this or are going through a situation like this, first of all, know that you have an option to say no, I'm done working with you. You are free to leave anytime you want because nobody is supposed to take disrespect from anybody, especially in a professional setting. You got to draw the line. There's a lot of people out there that have a lot of knowledge and they're nice people to work with. So don't work with business problems will come to you all the time. Like that is a given. You make a business, you expect problems to come your way every day of the business journey. Like that's what you're signing up for it. But if you have an advisor that on top of that adds a level of frustration and a level of just a lot of negativity, it's going to create problem solving a little bit more intense. And sometimes you're not going to be able to even problem solve correctly because your creativity is blocked. Like negativity stuff affects creativity in a way that doesn't allow you to solve your problems. Okay. Solving solutions comes from the creative mind. Okay. You can argue with me all day and say, no, Alejandra's analytical mind. Yeah, your analytical brain can come in and analyze everything that your creative brain just gave you. So if you are in the situation, first know that you are free to leave. Goodbye, sayonara, peace out. And second, find advisors that definitely have the expertise. You definitely want that. And also that have a good attitude and that are just calm. I mean, every problem is solvable. Every problem is solvable. So that's what I wanted to share with you. I will also make a LinkedIn post about this because I think this is so important. I feel like if my clients are, if I lived it through them with them this week, and because this is happening, I feel like this is happening more than we talk about. Okay, so don't allow advisors to intimidate you to a place where you feel stuck, or that you have to, like, their tactic is that you have to buy more of their stuff, or whatever it is, because that's not the case. That's just an intimidation strategy tactic that they use. So yeah, don't, stay away, stay clear from them. And now I'm going to dive into the episode because I think that this is going to be very interesting. Okay, so I'm bringing in Amy Chinian. Amy Chinian actually is a very successful business owner. She has bootstrapped her business from the ground up. She has been in the hair industry for about 7 years, and she's located in California. She's scaled her business to about 6 to 7 doors, I believe, and now she's expanding her product line. Now, she came to me and, we had a very deep conversation, and you're going to hear a little bit about that conversation throughout that recording, because she said, Alejandra, I think I'm ready to exit my business. And I asked her, so when are you exiting your business? She's like, I'm going to give myself 3 years, which is very smart. She's already making the smart decisions in order to move into what she envisions is going to happen in the next 3 years. I really like how she explained her struggles through that recording. So if you're a business owner and you are in brick and mortar, and she will really dive into all the challenges that she has overcome through her business journey. That could be hiring, that could be retaining employees. I mean, the hair industry, as you know, you do get a lot of a revolving door because you get a lot of 1099 contractors. So she goes into how she, the things that she was having put in place in order to succeed in her business. So this is going to be a very relatable episode for if you have a business out there. Please tune in, listen to all of it. There's some really good stuff in the end where we talk about exit strategies and, just a little bit of nuggets of information that you could probably resonate with your business, and you can put as a strategy right away. um yeah, and if you have any questions about how to scale for an exit, you know where to find me. I'm on LinkedIn. I always put it in the show notes. You can find me through my company Into the Next. And for anybody that does not know who what Into the Next is my advisory and consulting arm, where we support businesses and entrepreneurs, business owners in finance and operations, in scaling in the most efficient way and preparing for an exit as well. So that way you can really cash out on the return of your business. I focus a lot on strategic and financial exits, but more in the strategic exit side, because I really, really, really want you to have more return for your all the time and all the sweat and all the energy that you have put through the years in building this sellable asset. So I've been doing it for 16 years, and 5 of those years is with my company Into the Next. And that's what we do. So all of my information is in the show notes, but I'm going to go ahead and bring her in. I'm excited for you guys to hear about her story. And thank you so much again for stopping by. I will see you on the other side. All right. Well, for today's episode, I am very excited to introduce you to Amy Chinian. Amy Chinian is a fearless entrepreneur and very successful business owner. She's also an industry disruptor who is doing great stuff in the hair industry. But I want for all of us to hear it from her, how she got her success going and how she came across to basically solve the biggest problem, which is lices in the United States. So, Amy, how did you become so purposely full on this passion that you have? What led to that, and how are you, make disrupting the industry?
Well, good morning. Thank you for having me. I absolutely love talking about my story because I don't think you'll ever hear a story like this. I'm pretty sure of it because it's something that people don't like to talk about, head lice. But the funny thing is, everybody gets it. I've just written a children's book called Everybody Gets Lice because it is that prominent, that it's just everywhere and it's no respecter of persons. It's, I go to homes where, there I have to sign an NDA. They won't let me in. And I go to scary areas too, where, people are low income and they have lice for a long time. So it's one of those things that you can't really predict who's going to get it, but at some point you probably will get it. So I'll tell you from the beginning, if you like. It's kind of a fun story. Um, 2008, I was minding my own business, living in Playa del Rey, raising my 4 children. One was in my tummy. So that makes number 5 was in my tummy. And my head started itching. And I said, why is my hair itching? It's one of those itches that's like a fierce itch. And I had my girlfriend look at my hair and she said, well, you have head lice. I said, what the heck's that? I didn't grow up with lice. Some people say, oh, I had lice checks at school. Um, it was a regular routine. Well, this gal knew nothing about lice. So it was really scary to think of a bug living in my hair and I'm ready to have a baby and I'm taking the lice to the hospital. So I quickly was trying to think of solutions. And my friend that was there at my house that found it said, well, just go to the store and you buy this product and you put it in your hair and it takes care of it. Well, was I wrong? Those products don't work anymore. The lice are immune to them. But I went ahead and I tried it, didn't work. And then I said to myself, I've got to figure this out. Like, I'm ready to have a baby and I've got to get this lice out of my hair. So I called the only service in Los Angeles at that time. It was one lady had just started her company and she came to the house and she took everything out of all of my kids' hair, my hair, and then she came back in, a week and checked us again. And I remember it was very expensive. It was $1,500 each time, but you don't care because you need to get it out, and it's one of those desperate things. And that was the end of that. And 12 years went by. And I just remember that, that experience, and parents would come to me and say, oh, my child has lice. You have 5 kids. Have you ever had it? What did you do? And so I kept sending parents to different companies. And pretty soon I'm like, wait a minute, I need to learn more. It started with the thought, I need to learn more about this. So I did. I bought a book called Lice Advice by Katie Shepherd. She's now my friend. And I read the book cover to cover, and so that I was knowledgeable about lice. And there's just so many myths surrounding lice that I was so surprised. And it's just this mystery bug. No one knows how to get it out of the hair. And I was just so surprised and intrigued at the same time. But remember, I was raising 5 children. I wasn't thinking, oh, this would be a great business. No, I just wanted to be of help to people. So what happened is that was during the recession of 2008. My husband of 35 years had a very successful car industry. He had developed this lock for cars, and he was selling them in multiple car dealerships. Well, the car dealerships went out of business during that recession, and we found ourselves losing everything. Not only did we lose everything, we owed $1 million. And so what happened is I decided I was going to help. First, I decided I was going to help my kids not get kicked out of the private school because we couldn't pay. I said, well, I'll just help do the lice checks. I'll do whatever I can to make myself valuable. So it started with that thought. I bought a red picnic basket for $1 at a garage sale. And I remember he was, buying products for me. I was putting products in this basket. Didn't even have like money for a business card or a website, none of that. So it was basically friends and family. I would go to their homes and I had no idea what I was doing, like no idea, but I knew more than them. Okay. So, and I would smile, be myself, be pleasant. And they would call me back and say, "Oh, the lice is back." And I would be so horrified. I'd say, "Oh my gosh, I've got to figure this out." And I used to say, "Oh my gosh," I used to pray and say, "God, help me with this. You made this bug. I really need to know how it operates because I'm leaving bugs in people's hair." And so what happened is I just perfected my technique over time. um, we lost everything, cars, buildings, businesses, and all I had was this little thing I had created with my red picnic basket and a desire to help people. I found a niche that really not too many people were doing. It was a problem that every family at one time or another would be touched by. And so I created a business, and I'll progress as you have questions for me and tell you what happened.
Yes, no, I love the story. Thank you so much for sharing it. It's amazing how curiosity led you to build a very strong business, and how being in situations of struggle and conflict may those are the situations where we can rise up and that's when we become the most creative selves
Uh-huh.
and do something amazing like you did with your Lice business. I'm interested to know, because it was something that you started from a passion and a need, like the need to help others. How was that journey for you from building it from this moment to scaling it to nationwide?
That's a very good question. So I did not take partners. I did not take big loans, maybe a couple SBA loans along the way. Uh, but we just kept it small. The internet was not a big factor back then. It was 17 years ago when the internet had just started becoming a factor with advertising. So what I did is, um, remember I told you we lost everything. So we had to move locations. Um, so we moved from Westchester near the airport in Los Angeles, and I had trained one lady. Um, and so she was covering that area for me. Incredible lady, very trustworthy, very good with people. And then I moved, of all places, we moved to Calabasas, a very affluent community, but we moved into like 700 square foot apartment. And I would see customers from my apartment. So I not knowingly expanded my business to a new territory. And it's your business is only as good as the people you train and hire. So I had one person I trusted. And then what happened is I finally found product that worked. I perfected my technique. I realized that it was going to be oils and enzymes that were going to be able to take the lice out with the combing. So I found a company that I could private label my products. And as I got money, we made a logo and then put that on our products, private labeled some products. So I still have that red picnic basket that I would take into homes because I did not have a location. I was traveling from home to home, and it was word of mouth. And so what happened is I was driving to a customer's house and I saw a for rent sign on a tree, and it was in front of this cute little cottage. And they were businesses, but they were cottages. I said, "Oh my gosh, how cute." So I went and looked in the window and I said, "Oh, it's kind of small." And my husband looked in, he goes, "Oh, it's perfect." So that was my first location.
Oh, I love it.
And now we have the whole house rented because I'm busy there. So I've got 2 rooms, and I've been there probably 8 years. And so that was my first location. And it's not like I was hungry to open more locations because, you don't want to move too fast.
Hmm.
You want to move as your business grows.
Hmm.
And so I noticed as we would advertise and the word got out, I was getting calls from Downey. And I'm like, where the heck's Downey? And I guess they just didn't have any companies there. So I said to my husband, let's open in Downey. And so I found something on the internet and it was very reasonable rent. You've got to keep your rents reasonable, people. You can't bite off more than you can chew. So I found small, reasonable, and I opened up in Downey. And as time went by, um, I opened up during COVID, believe it or not. I didn't have many customers during COVID because everybody was 6 feet apart.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody was getting lice. And so it was very quiet for a couple years. But, they were giving out some grants and some loans to help people kind of through that period. So what I did was I took that opportunity when nobody was renting, nobody was opening new businesses, and we opened up another location in Redondo Beach. And it sat there empty for 2 years. And I kept thinking, gosh, did I make a mistake? Like, oh my gosh. But everything I do is with prayer. And I thought, the Lord wouldn't let me make a mistake here. So I waited patiently. And now that's my best location.
Wow.
Yeah, that's my best location because it's there near, Manhattan Beach, Redondo Beach, all the beach cities. And then as time went by, I kept, like I said, I'd monitor where the calls were coming from. And then I would just kind of slowly browse around to see, if there was a location. So now I'm on my sixth location. Um, the last one I opened was in Orange County. I opened that a few days ago. I have it down to a science. When you've been doing this a while, you know exactly what furniture to buy. You know how much rent you want to pay. Um, the hardest challenge you're ever going to find is finding good people to work for you.
Mm-hmm.
That's always the biggest challenge because you're going to get different types of people. You're going to get people that are very honest, very hardworking, and they represent your company well. Then you're going to get people that are a little bit lazy. They're just going to do the bare minimum to get by. Then you're going to get people who steal from you. They steal
Mm-hmm.
your ideas. And that's delicate too. So you have to be prepared. You're going to get all different kinds. And that's going to be your biggest challenge is finding good people.
So, I love that you said that and you share your story. Watching you scale from store, like location to location, even when COVID was around, is very impressive. And I love that you said, reiterating, you gotta pick really low overhead in order to scale efficiently,
Yep.
right? That's very
Yep.
important. And also, you did a lot of organic growth. Until what location was it when you started doing the ads? How many did you have?
So actually the first location.
First location.
Yeah.
So, but the first growth spur was all organic, and then was with the advertisement.
Yes. Yes. I have a specialty group of people because no one person does everything well. I've got a Google specialist, an SEO specialist,
Mm-hmm.
a graphic designer. I have an Amazon store now, so I have an Amazon manager, Shopify manager. She's both. Somebody to help with social media. Um, you've got to have a little group around you
Mm-hmm.
that you can hire as independent contractors. Um, my husband, with his first business, made the mistake, he told me, of having people on staff to do things that an independent contractor would do. So he would be paying somebody 100,000
Mm-hmm.
to do something an independent contractor could do.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that he made that mistake. And so he had gathered a lot of debt in his business, overhead and debt.
Mm-hmm.
So, he's been very helpful. He's my partner now. Um, when his business collapsed, he tried to get back into the car business. But it was hard because he had been at the top. And when you're at the top, it's hard to scratch your way back to the top because you have to start at the bottom again. So he uses all of his business ideas and strategies for my hair helpers. It's very helpful.
It's really great to have a, a experienced business partner next to you that is also your husband. I know people say, that sometimes that can become a very interesting relate dynamic, right? Because you're working with your husband.
Well, when he starts talking about business at midnight, I give him a look and he knows the look, or I don't answer. He always gets a burst of energy at midnight. I'm like, really? Um, let's not do that. Yeah. I would say that, you have to decide as a couple. I mean, is this going to work for you? We actually had no choice. I mean, we had a family to feed, and his thing wasn't working anymore. So um, it was a choice that was made for us. Um, but it's all good. It's all good now.
So you did brought up a really good point. Hiring is the biggest challenge a business can have. I have clients, they express that to me. I have a business and I, like you, I mean, my idea's been stolen, things of that
Yeah,
nature. So it's,
yeah,
it's really hard to hire good people. And when you find them, you want to keep them forever, but
yeah.
people also don't stay forever, unfortunately. What has been something that you've learned in this journey of hiring and retaining really good people? Has it been something with values, or has it been a leadership style that you have adopted, or a mindset that you can share?
I would say that one of the biggest lessons I learned was that I can't be a babysitting service. My heart is too big to the point where sometimes people take advantage. And the ladies that gave me the most problem bringing their problems to work and they're very troubled were the ones that turned out to turn on me. So you don't want to harden your heart towards people, but you have to become very professional um, and not intertwine relationships um, with business. And that's a fine line because you want to be yourself. You want to be friendly, you want to be encouraging. But, I had some things happen recently. I had to let 5 ladies go. That's a lot of ladies because one bad apple can spoil the whole bunch. If there's a complainer, and usually the complainers are not the hard workers. They just
Hmm.
want a free ride. They want to work as little as possible and complain about it. So, that happened to me. It's like looking for a needle in a haystack. Um, a couple things I look for, and I'll ask, well, where are you living? Are you living at home? Are you living with your parents? Are you supporting yourself? Do you have small children? Because one of my workers has 5 small children and something's always happening, emergency, it's a lot. So I'm always happy when I find somebody who's, a little bit older and their kids are grown and they live by themselves and they just want to support themselves. I'm like, ooh, this looks good. So just certain dynamics, and of course work ethics. It's um, sometimes you think somebody's honest and they're not. That's hurtful and it's surprising. But I think human nature is when people that work for you see how much money you're making, they get jealous, but they don't know all your expenses and what goes into that. And so I've had probably 4 ladies take off and start their own businesses from what I've shown them about lice removal. They'll go and they'll sneak off and start and just, tell me they're leaving. And then I see them pop up on the internet. And I would say most of those ladies have come back to me and asked for their job back because it's very expensive, first of all, to advertise. Um, and it's very up and down when you have your own business. So that being said, it's like looking for a needle in a haystack, but you can find those great people.
So you definitely focus on personal values, what the current situation is, right? That can be a good dynamic for you as well in the business. And then also, yeah, I mean, it's really hard. That happened to me as well, where I hired a few employees and then they left to start their own thing. And now, they're not doing right what they're supposed to be doing and they left for, because it's really hard to start a business and continue working at it. People don't see that side. They just see you're making money.
Right, right. They're like, "Ooh, look at how much money I'm making you." Well, there's the Google ads, 1,000 a day. There's the rent. It's very
Hmm.
expensive.
Hmm. Yeah, it's especially the mindset that you have to overcome the downturn of a business, because like you said, a business go up, they go down.
Yeah.
When because you've been doing this for a long time, what in a business downturn, what kind of mindset and strategies did you employ in order to transform any kind of financial challenge that you were having into an opportunity?
So I would say when you have a business, you have to have multiple streams of income. You can't just have one stream of income. So I created multiple streams of income with product sales. I'm on all social media platforms with a store. And then I do schools, camps, in home, in salon treatments, because when one salon is slow, another one might be busy. So, you've got multiple streams coming in. Um, Amazon has been good for me, but it's very costly. They take a big chunk out of it. Not only do they take a chunk, but then you're paying for advertising to get your product to the top. But I would say not just having one stream of income when you have a business. You got to diversify a little bit, uh, and that'll help kind of offset if something's slow, then you've got something else going.
Yeah, that's a really great advice. I love when I work with clients, like you're saying, and they have different kinds of revenue streams
Mhm.
because, but they're still focusing on the niche, which you're still doing. You're focusing on my hair helpers, but
Yes.
you have it not only in person, but now you have it as a product, which is still the same umbrella, but different revenues, right? Different cash flow ways.
Mhm.
What were because I work with a lot of clients in consumer goods in the e-commerce space and also in Amazon, and I know Amazon is very costly for
Yes.
because they take a lot of your marketing
Yes.
percentage, right? Maybe can you talk more about the operational challenges that you have experienced in the e-commerce side and in Amazon?
Yes. We'll start with Amazon. So you have to really have somebody who's an expert in advertising. If you're trying to do it yourself, you're going to waste money. And so it's taken this many years where we had one gal doing it, and she's great at managing, and but we had to hire an expert to come in with the advertising, somebody that knows more the keywords, the ways to get the products sold. So that's kind of something new we did, and they're taking, they just now started, so I can't really tell you if it's gotten better. We built a Shopify store, and that's been a bit of a flop. Um, I don't know why, except for that I think once again you have to spend on advertising.
Hmm.
And so we've not sold many on Shopify. I'm building a new website right now with a new product store page. I think it's going to do well. So, I mean, you don't know till you try, right? Um, you just have to try different things and then monitor them and see, where you're getting sales.
Hmm.
Um, and that's basically what we've done. So I would say I'm not crushing it with sales, but I'm working on it. I do sell a product in my salons.
Yes, and but the demand is there. So we know that I know for a fact when I work with e-commerce brands, a product like yours will sell. But like you said, depending on the marketing strategy that you have in order to launch the product, because it's just direct to consumer online. Besides advertisement spend, have you thought about any other marketing strategies to sell it online?
Well, I've been thinking about YouTube.
Hmm.
I've heard YouTube is a great place to sell product. I just haven't had time to really focus on certain things. Because, when you're trying to do too much at once, you just don't do anything well. So, we're trying to focus on right now the website, but I think YouTube would be really good for sales. Um, and direct to consumer is always better because no one's taking a chunk of it.
Mhm.
So um, those are the only things I can think of that I haven't done.
So I'm gonna tell you one because I work with these brands. And I work a lot. Also, I had experience with hair brands. So maybe you know about Vegamore. Do you know about that one? It's like an oil that you put it in your hair and then it starts growing. It gives you hair growth and in your
Okay.
eyebrows too. But now they expanded to shampoo, conditioner, all the good stuff. So
Ooh,
I
I got
work with them.
that.
Yes. And they did a lot. The big strategy here for this kind of brands is micro influencers. So maybe you want to look into that. Yes, because um, imagine, right? Who's gonna believe if I'm a consumer and I'm trying to buy a product for
Uh-huh.
my hair or myself, my beauty, and I
Yeah.
see somebody that I like on Instagram or using it or in TikTok, I will probably purchase from that person because I like her. I feel like there's some kind of attraction to her. Like maybe I like the way that her hair is done, or something that drives me to
Yeah.
purchasing from that person. So consumers trust on those people more than on any other advertisement when it comes to like health products and skincare and stuff. So
Yeah. I have not done that. But I think it's a great idea. I mean, a mom influencer telling you, spray this on your kid's hair and you're not going to, I mean, who isn't going to buy a dozen of those, right?
correct. Yeah, yeah. And you don't need for micro influencers, you don't need that much big of a budget because they're micro, but they have high engagement. So
And
something.
how do you find those?
So there is a different platforms that you can find them. And if you have a marketer person, I can tell that offline to you. But if you have a
Uh,
marketing person, I
yeah.
can, yeah, I can definitely share some stuff with you. Because I really want you to be successful, especially in this area of e-commerce. I think you have something really good
Mhm.
that can really drive the business valuation up of your business,
Yeah.
besides everything else that you're doing.
Well, and the thing is that I told you that the products out there the over the counter products aren't working. And one of the reasons why is because the lice are immune to them. Big Pharma owns a lot of those, Rid and Nix, and they have all the shelf space. So you have to dig a little deeper if you want to find something that is going to work for your child,
Mhm.
for treatment. And so, um, yes, different platforms, different influencers. I'm not in a laboratory telling you this is going to work. I'm in a salon, right? Showing you. I have
Mhm.
6 locations. We are using this product. So
Mhm.
I have not connected the two things yet as well as I could. So I know I'm missing out there.
Yes. I honestly, what you've created, really disrupting the hair industry, and you are bringing more awareness to people with the lice. Because I don't have any kids, right? But I'm sure that people that have kids, they get lice at least once in their lifetime, right? Is
Well,
that
I have to get it 3 to 4 times a year.
wow?
I like to return to the same hair. They leave a scent behind. They know where they've been. And then I get people that only get it once, but most people get it multiple times.
Wow. So
Yeah.
this is yeah. No, yeah. So this is a great opportunity. Like you're in a great niche.
I like I said, I, I fell into it. I really did. I was just minding my own business, and this all kind of unfolded on me. Yeah.
So where is my hair helpers now? So now right now you're in locations, you're going to houses as well, and now you're building your e-commerce platform. And where do you see going in the next few years? You think you're gonna exit your business? You're gonna give it to an family member, or what's your plan?
So my plan is I'm in Southern California now. My plan is to eventually expand into other states, possibly Nevada, Arizona, that border California. I don't we talked about franchising, but I don't know if I want to do that. I'd rather someone else do that. Someone
Mhm.
else look at the opportunity and say, yeah, we could franchise this easy. Um, so I don't have plans that are solid. I do know that I'm getting so big that I need help. I need to hire somebody to do what I do so
Mhm.
that I can be more creative.
Mhm.
Um, and I know that this is a great business. And because I got in so early, like I said, when my kids had lice, there was one person in LA. She's still my competition, but not great competition. Um, you know what it is? You know what it is? You got to keep your hand on the steering wheel. When you have a business, um, if I get a bad review, I'm calling that person and I'm either redoing the treatment or I'm giving, compensation. You can't let stuff go. I have thousands of 5-star reviews. Reviews are so important, people in business. Uh,
Mhm.
or a little incentive. Don't bribe people, but I'll give them a free hairbrush or something, to make a review. And you can buy those Google scans, those barcodes or QR codes, I meant, and you can get reviews because people look at reviews. And so, um, yeah, I'm not sure where this is all going, but I would love a Fortune 500 company or a big shampoo company that says, "Oh my gosh, look at this market we've missed."
Mhm.
Burt's Bees doesn't do it. L'Oreal
Mhm.
doesn't do it. Look at this. This is
Mhm.
like huge. I would love that. Stroke me a big check. Let's talk.
And that is actually the biggest exit that you could have, which is a competitor coming in and saying, like Johnson and Johnson, right? Johnson and Johnson is a
Love
huge
it.
one, right?
Love it.
That could
Love
be a huge one coming in and say, "We missed this market. We're gonna go ahead and acquire you," and that would be millions and millions, multi-millions dollar of an exit.
Yeah, it's very interesting that a lot of these companies have missed this market. And the funny thing is, I told you, Rid and Next, you don't see people using that in a salon. No, because it doesn't work. It might kill a bug or two, but that's it. So very interesting. I mean, I learned so much when I got in this business. I learned that lice are very misunderstood. They don't live in your house. They live on your head. They only travel head to head. And there's all this hysteria about bagging stuff up for 2 weeks. And, they don't live more than 24 hours off your head. The eggs can't hatch off your head. The bugs can't survive off your head. So, that with this horrible product that doesn't work, I said, what the heck's going on here? Um, and so I just dove in. I started learning. And part of what my company does well is we do excellent treatment. Most of my ladies that work for me are licensed cosmetologists. They don't have to be. It just kind of turned out that way. And we educate the families. I'm constantly educating people, and they appreciate that.
So you also said something before that really, really found amazing. You said, "I need help." You said, "I need to find someone to replace me in a way. That way, I'm more creative." And to me, that's very strong suit that you're saying, "I need help," because as business owners, we are entrepreneurs. We don't really ask for help, right? We are always like, we want to help. We have a big mission and a big purpose, but it's very hard for us to ask for help. So,
Yeah.
how are you able to do that switch and say, okay, this is the time for me to,
It comes down to dollars.
hmm
Plenty of people that work for me, they're very capable. I could say, I want you going to each location, checking in. If a lady's struggling with her treatment, I need you to retrain her how to sell products. It just comes down to dollars, because I'm very expensive and I work for free. And so, it does come down to that. But yeah, it's going to happen.
Do you think that one of the biggest challenges in the operations as you were scaling your business has been delegation and the trust to the people that you've hired? Because it's hard to hire some good people.
Absolutely. And what I found is that um, with your workers, you'll see the potential. One of my ladies, she is a very good trainer, very good. And she writes documents and tests the girls. And so I send the new girls to her. But I didn't ask her to do it until I saw her doing it. Uh, and, those kind of situations, I can't just take somebody who hasn't been in this industry and say, I want you to do this. No, it's usually from within. You see somebody that's doing something well. Um, so I have my eye on a couple things, a couple women that could possibly do this. It's just taking that leap because then you've got more expenses. And I
Mhm.
think that's why, us with small businesses, we're like, no, I can do that. I'm not paying somebody 100 grand to do what I'm doing.
Yeah, but at some point you do have to remove yourself because nobody's going to acquire Amy, and people are going to acquire, healthy helpers, right? So
Yeah.
my hair helpers, sorry about that. So my
Yeah.
hair help, so nobody's going to acquire you, or they're going to acquire the brand assets, you're going to acquire the revenue, the customers, the cash that comes with it, the
Yeah.
team maybe, or the
Yeah.
culture that you create. So at some point, Amy has to not be on the, driver's seat.
Right. I would gladly do that. I'm ready.
And with the dream, so you're saying you're going to expand to other states everywhere with the e-commerce brand, right? That would be the dream. And then go for a strategic exit, which a competitor coming in. How many years is that? Do you see that all coming together?
I've given myself 3 years.
3 years. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just open a new location. I think that what I'd like to do, if I'm going to expand to, say, another part of California, I
Hmm.
always test the market first. I'll
Hmm.
hire somebody mobile and then I'll advertise around them and then see how that does. Because once you have a location, it's a lot. It's like, do you want a location or do you want a person that can
Hmm.
do that? So, just some things to think about.
Yeah. Yes, because if you're only giving yourself 3 years, it takes usually 3 years to build a business for a good exit, right? I think right now you're in a great place with everything that you have going on. And if the when the e-commerce brand explodes, because it's going to explode, right? It's just a matter of time. That's when the business valuation is going to go up, and that's when you can, start thinking, okay, what do I need to do now to even clean it up better for a good exit, right? Like
Yeah,
where else? Yeah.
yeah. I am making my ladies employees, so that's been a big change for us. And that we're in the process of doing that. We've hired a HR company. So, yeah, just some changes to get ready.
Hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love that you said that because at the end of the day, like I told you, brands will acquire brands for their intangible assets, which is your people, your culture, the brand asset that you created with the product, but also the customers, the revenue, the consistent cash flow, the consistent and predictability in revenue. If you don't have any of that, the valuation goes really low. So it's good that you're thinking like that.
So when you're looking at selling your business, do you ever have companies buy based on what they see or the potential, or is it all numbers?
So Ye- yes, and yes, and yes, and yes. So they buy according to what you have right now, right? And then from there, they predict the potential of what's coming in. But for example, if you right now have let's just say one store, right? And the one store, it's you have the most of the revenue is coming from five customers, right? So
Uh-huh.
just this is just very hypothetical. Okay, obviously this is not the case. But if those five customers and they acquire you and they say, okay, so revenue is coming from five customers, that's really low. It would
Yeah.
be better if your revenue is coming from 100 customers or
Right.
200 customers,
Right.
right? It would be better if your revenue is coming and each customer is spending 4 times. So they're not just coming in 1 time, they're coming in to spend 4 more times, right?
Uh-huh.
That's what we call predictability, and that's what they're looking for. So not
Okay.
only how much you bring in, but how those pieces break down according to your customer level, according to your, right now that you're doing e-commerce, what is your customer acquisition cost to get somebody at the door, right? To buy that product online. So all of those little things break down.
Okay. Yeah, I think at this point it'd be much easier to expand my product line um, than expand service. I mean, I want to expand service slowly to different areas, but expanding the product, we've got to kind of catch up what I've created.
Mhm.
So maybe any tips you can give me would be appreciated.
I would love to. E-commerce is my bread and butter. Somehow I've been doing it for 16 years in the e-commerce side. Somehow I, like you, Lice found you. E-commerce finds me somehow. I mean,
Oh, I love Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Yeah. Well,
yeah, but I
one,
think you're in a great place though, Amy. I really love your company and I think you're doing great stuff and you've overcome a lot of really big challenges. You were in bank, you said you were like a lot of debt too, right? And you turned that around. Yeah.
yeah, the debt was not so much a hindrance when I started this business because everything we never didn't take out big loans, you know. We just worked with what we had. Um, so, little by little. It's been little by little.
And is there a reason why you never wanted to take investor money or someone else to come in?
I didn't really feel like I needed it
Hmm.
because my husband, well, he likes to control things. He had a big company, so he likes to, I'm not going to lie, he likes to control things a bit. Um, and we've had many opportunities for people to, invest. But then anytime you say the word invest, partner, it's like cut in half. Your revenue's cut in half.
Hmm.
Um, I'd rather just sell the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. I always say there's two types of businesses, right? The one that gets funded by investor money and the one that gets like you bootstrap. That way you bootstrap it all the way. And I love bootstrapped, yeah. And I always say, and I work with both business client, like both
Uh-huh.
kind of personalities. And I always say that the ones that get the investor money get a little bit more comfortable with
Yeah,
that. And they
yeah,
don't, you know what I'm saying? They don't pull teeth and, do what the other type of business owners do. And which is, to me, is more remarkable doing the bootstrap way. Yeah.
it is.
It just gives you a lot of character, right? So.
That's for sure. Blood, sweat, and tears, 7 days a week.
Oh, I love it. So, okay, so before we end the conversation, I want to ask you a few questions, personal. If you were at a dinner and you had the opportunity to sit next to someone, dead or alive, who could that be, and what would you ask them?
Oh my gosh, I never really thought about that, but I'd like to sit next to Jesus. Jesus changed my life, and he's everything. He's everything to me. So that's who I would choose. I can't think of anyone else that even compares.
I love it. What would you ask Jesus?
Why did you choose me?
Oh, you are the chosen one.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
I love that because you also said, right, you have competitors, but they're not as good as me. Yeah.
You
So,
have to have a deep caring for
yeah,
people.
yeah.
And I do have a nonprofit called Lice Free Forever Charity, where I don't like to turn people away because they don't have money and they've got lice in their hair and their children are suffering. They're being made fun of at school. That is not okay. And so I started this nonprofit years ago, and the school nurses know me. They know that I'm not going to turn somebody away. And so that's been a huge blessing. And you honestly seen life-changing things happen because when a child is missing school for weeks, sometimes months, because they can't get lice out, that's heartbreaking.
Wow.
Yeah, I see that.
You see, I don't think people realize the impact of lies. I mean,
Hmm.
it's like you said, it's a very overlooked part of the industry.
It
Yeah.
sure It sure is. You can go to my TikTok, and I have quite a few followers on it, and I'll post stuff. I love posting, and people are surprised. They're like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't know it was like such a big deal."
Yeah, that's huge. So you're the chosen one. I love it too because I can feel it in you that you have such a big passion and heart for what you're doing, and that makes everything so different because anybody that buys from you can feel that, right? And that's what brings people back to you. Your
Yes,
passion. Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nice to have a lot of money. Um, you can do more things, make you more comfortable. You can help people, which I like. Um, but it's not what drives me really. Um, of course, I always want to be at the top um, because I want to have more opportunities to help people. I've sent products to Philippines to an orphanage. I've sent products to Pakistan. I was trying to help them get a business going over there. Um, things like that I love doing. I eventually see myself traveling to help in orphanages. Um, you know, and I used to go to Mexico every year. I'd go with my church. We'd go to Tijuana, um, a little town called Bella Vista, and we'd take product up there. And I'd spend days combing people. And pretty soon I just started bringing them product because they knew what to do. So those kind of things are meaningful.
So, would you say that legacy to you is leaving that kind of footprint in the world?
Well, I would say I'm the only company that I know that's doing this for treatment
Hmm.
for
Hmm.
free. Nobody. I don't know anybody else. And so I would say yes. I would like to always have that available because when you've seen what I see, a child that is made fun of, she's sitting by herself at school. Nobody will sit by her because she's got bugs in her hair. And it takes me a couple hours to get the lice out, and their life has changed. I once went to a school, they hired me. It was a low income school in downtown Koreatown in LA. And it took me a while to get the parents comfortable with who I was and why I was there to help them. They couldn't figure that out. Why am I there to help their children? And we went in with a team and spent a few hours, and we deloused about 20 girls, couple boys. And the next day they came to school and they had their hoodies off, and it's like they were set free. Those kind of things are such a blessing.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. So that is definitely a strong legacy that you're leaving behind, Amy. Well,
Yes,
thank you so much for coming into Scale to Exit podcast to share your journey with your business and where you're heading and what your big dreams and plans are. And you actually think about exiting. And I love that you're thinking about that 3 years ahead because that's how long it really takes to steer the business into really good operational growth and financially as well for anybody that purchases your business. So this is really great conversation. And I also have a scale and exit readiness index that I'll share with you. And it's basically very simple questionnaire that I developed in house with my team that tells you evaluation, and it tells you where are you in the scale index right now, if you are on a risky zone or going for an exit. So you'll find it really interesting. I'll share it with you, and then you let me know what you think.
love that.
Yeah, yeah. Very excited to have you here. And for everybody that's listening, where can they find you and connect with you?
The name of my company is My Hair Helpers. So my website is www.myhairhelpers.com. And I also have all the social media, TikTok at My Hair Helpers, Instagram, My Hair Helpers, and Facebook, and YouTube. Yeah, you can find my phone number, and if you have questions for me or you just want to say hi, you can find my phone number on my website and call me or text me. Yeah.
Perfect. And I will put that all of that in the show notes as well for people to reach you with the website, the LinkedIn, the Instagram, and all of that. So thank you so much, Amy, and for everybody that's listening. I will see you next time. Adios, muchachos. Hasta la vista. Bye.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.